Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another installment of Show to Be with Mike G, the show of whiskey, the show of Quentin Tarantino, fatherhood, and so much more. It is my pleasure today to share a great interview, an interviewee being interviewed, an interviewer being interviewed. Today I'm sitting down and talking with Kristopher Hart of Whiskey Neat, the fine program in Houston, the proprietor of the Houston Whiskey Social, which has its 5th annual instance this Saturday, February 8th in Houston. For those of you being able to check out that event, I imagine it's going to be incredible. You know him from many of his guests. As interviewers, we kind of hold a little bit of ourselves back. And Chris, I'm going to tell you right now, there was a bit of our chat which got dark. It was honest, but I'm going to reserve that. I cut it out of here, but I will gladly talk about that struggle and those dark places with you on your show. So this is all about you, though, my friend. This is about what you've done as a father, how you've managed to wrangle the bourbon community, and so many other things. So I hope you guys in the group, your women in the group, HBS, you enjoyed this chat. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed this great chat with Kristopher Hart of Whiskey Neat and the Houston Whiskey Social.
Watch it a second time to give it a fair shot, but I will tell you that we left feeling very
incomplete,
empty. Yeah, very empty,
unsatisfied.
I mean, it all boils up to the last 5 minutes, which, by the way, the last 5 minutes are arguably pretty hilarious.
Absolutely funny. It's
pretty hilarious.
Great stuff,
but the whole thing's like Charles Manson, and then the best scene for me, the scene that really sucked me in was the scene where Brad Pitt went to go visit his old friend at that little farm.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, what's going to happen,
ranch.
right? And then guess what happens? Nothing happens.
Well,
he's alive and well in the room, and he remembers. So it's like, okay.
That is an 8 to 12 minute section of the movie that could have come out.
Correct. But here's the thing. It was a captivating 8 to 12 minutes.
Sure.
That left you with nothing. So it's like, it's building. He knows something's up. These little hippies are being weird. Something's going on.
Well, so let me ask you then about this. And this is not... At times, this podcast becomes an actually narrative and dialogue about film, as I've talked to a couple of filmmakers and stuff on the show. But is it not as trivial and in the weeds of detail? Brad Pitt going out to the ranch, I can remember the name of it, where they shot all those westerns to go see Bruce Dern.
Sure.
Is that not just as pedantic in a way as everybody?
The coffee shop scene?
That's right.
No, I'll tell you why. So the coffee shop scene is right before their heist, right? They're planning the heist. They're meeting for the first time. They're giving each other nicknames.
But do you know that until after? You don't really know.
In that discussion, they're giving each other nicknames, right?
Sure, Mr. Pink.
Yeah, man. He's like, I don't want to be Mr. Pink,
Fuck, I gotta be. Yeah.
Yeah, it's integral to the ultimate story. This moment where it's a commune, you don't know right away it's Charles Manson related. You don't know that it's going to lead to what the film ends with, and really, it was an overall empty moment of time that wasn't as captive. I mean, it sucked me in for a minute because you think it's going to lead to something in the moment, but the dialogue of Steve Buscemi arguing over tips and the genius of it was it left you with a complete feeling of a great moment in film. No one is going to remember that moment of the hippie commune as being a great moment in film, or iconic for that matter. Can you remember a single line from that scene? I can remember 5 lines.
Sure.
Right?
Why'd you wake me up? I remember that.
Yeah. Where he demands his tip money back.
Yeah.
So there's tons of
So this is the thing.
Harvey Keitel. I just want to say Harvey's name.
Well,
He's amazing.
Of course, the guy who went full frontal multiple times. God bless him for
Harvey
that.
Keitel is a saint.
A prodigy. Do you know? I'm going to say this real quick. Do you know Dale DeGroff? Dale DeGroff is one of the oldest, most influential bartenders from New York.
Okay.
And he's the guy that brought cocktails back. And this ties it back to Harvey Keitel. I remember I had dinner with him one time, and I wanted to have him on the show for a long time. And I said, "You're an actor." I know he was an actor. He was trying to be an actor for a long time, as many bartenders are. And I said, "You've got to look at him, just squint at him." I said, "You've bound to have auditioned for a Scorsese film." And he's like, "Well, actually,
He has.
Yeah,
he got one.
He auditioned for Harvey Keitel's
Oh, did he really?
in Mean Streets.
Oh, wow.
So everything's small, and
Sure.
and of course, any excuse I can find to bring film into the chats is exactly what I'll do.
Film is such a culturally impactful, unifying thing.
Yeah.
It can be.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, it can be a bit, divisive at times.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Sure, as can television, as we know from this last week's episode of South Park.
When South Park is at the precipice of relevance for political commentary, which it has been for a long time.
For over a decade,
but
right?
subversively.
24 seasons.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
And it doesn't matter what happens. They're all. And you know what? South Park is the only show I know that doesn't adhere to a schedule.
That's right.
Now, I'm sure they might have a schedule, but it's not one that makes sense to me. They'll air an episode. They'll wait a few weeks. They'll air another episode. They'll wait a few months. They'll air another. So it's like it's not a once every week. I don't really get the schedule of South Park, but their ability to be relevant always.
Yeah.
For as long as my kids have been alive. It's been pretty crazy.
It's an interesting thing. So, all right, we both take a lot of inspiration from art, because I consider the film, whether it's arguable or not, South Park, in a sense, is artful commentary.
100%.
Absolutely essential political
You like fish sticks?
Fucking Kanye. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Me too, then you're a gay fish. Its ability to listen, silver screen, small screen, big screen, it doesn't matter. I'm a Tarantino fan. I still am a Tarantino fan. I'm a huge Brad Pitt fan, and Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the greatest of all.
Up for an Oscar for this, you think?
No.
Yep. We'll put $5 on it now because
you think he'll get an Oscar for it?
Oscar nom. Now I think Joaquin will win, but
Joaquin will win.
Yep.
I haven't seen. Have you seen it yet?
Yes,
Joker?
I did. I saw it.
You did? Was it great?
I want to give you just a little backstory.
Okay.
So I took an Uber downtown. I expected to drive, and so the next day, because ACL.
This will be your first 3-hour podcast, by the way. I'm telling you right now.
Oh fuck! I don't have a battery life for it. But so I have to get to the theater. We're running late, Leslie and we're gonna go see this movie at 3:10 on a Saturday. And she's like, "Well, I need to bring some clothes up. We're gonna do some laundry at your place." I'm like, "Cool. Well, it just so happens that the bag that she has is a black duffel bag.
Okay.
I don't have my car, so we have to go straight to the theater with 2 bags and a black duffel bag. Now, you've heard this about Joker? What's going on?
Nope.
There is a threat that there's private security at these theaters because there's been a threat of a mass shooting at the Joker screen.
I didn't know that, but I knew that the last film caused the same thing.
Dark Knight Rises?
Right.
In Colorado.
Right.
Aurora.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, same things going on for the Joker this weekend.
Threat of a mass shooting?
That's right.
Well, we don't really have to worry about those in America, though. So
no, that's
probably an empty threat.
we're fine.
Yeah.
I'm a white guy walking in with a black duffel bag.
Sure.
I'm fine, right?
We're totally cool.
So we arrive at the theater, and I look at him like, "Hey, we should probably check these bags." This is the first time I've been to Alamo Drafthouse in Austin, where there's actually private security, and he's back of us.
What's in the bags?
Just fucking clothes.
Yeah.
Right, but what's in the bags?
Yeah.
What's in the bags? What's in the bag? Right. So we check it, but anyway, so that just punctuates how tense it was to see that movie. And I think everybody should see it. It is a massive study into mental illness.
Sure.
In a way that people, they're just looking about. I heard a lot of people arguing about, well, it's just Joaquin Phoenix being violent. No. This is a demonstration of a man facing mental illness for over 30 years and what it does to crush his soul in addition to violent behavior against him. So Go see it, and we'll have to talk about it.
I'm going to watch it. I have every intent to see it. I will say this. I think objectively it's fair to say that a lot of us are getting, there are other villains out there, you know? Listen, I know people are trying to recapture the Heath Ledger Joker.
Yeah, which is astonishing stuff.
It's hard to do, and there are other things out there you could probably make great without having to recreate.
You're absolutely right.
I'm a huge fan of Buyers Dallas Club.
McConaughey? Or
30 Seconds to Mars. Jared Leto.
Oh, Jared Leto.
I like Jared Leto. I think he's done some great things. I know that he's a bit divisive for some. But his Joker was objectively the worst thing to happen to cinema since...
Cesar Romero was better than Jared Leto.
100%. 100%. Jared Leto was garbage.
Yeah.
And I get what he was trying to do, but that was objectively the biggest pile of shit I've seen since the last Will Smith movie.
Which one was that one?
I don't know. Just pick one.
Yeah,
I used to love Will Smith. I used to get into arguments with coworkers about him because I thought he was The Rock for me.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So The Rock now is this charismatic, fun, everyone loves The Rock guy. But Will was that not too long ago.
Absolutely.
I found out I was having my first child in iRobot.
Oh,
I don't know if I've ever told that on air. I went with some friends. I didn't have a car at the time. I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And we went to Taco Bell. And we were going to go see iRobot. And I found out in the movie theater, I got a call from my father, my stepfather.
Yeah.
I didn't know my dad growing up.
Me either.
My stepfather
actually
says, "Hey, did you knock Hillary up, my daughter's mother?" I was like, I mean, she's late, but I haven't heard anything yet. Like, I haven't gotten a call. This is my first phone call, you know? So I had to get my friends to give me, my friends from church, mind you, give me a ride home. I was like, hey, man, I got something going on. I need you to take me home right now. But I'm too embarrassed. I'm not going to tell you what it is, right? I don't know if that makes me sound horrible or not, but
No.
I just, iRobot. Great film, by the way. I loved iRobot.
Alex Proyas, director of The Crow and Dark City.
I think I Am Legend is one of the greatest zombie
Brilliant
films.
movie.
Brilliant zombie films.
Yeah.
And Will Smith got to a point where after the film, After Earth, it just...
I liked Bright. Did you like Bright? I dug it.
Oh, Netflix.
Yep.
Thought it was fantastic.
It's great, right?
I thought it was great.
Return to form.
And no one loved it.
I know.
No one liked it.
But it's because who was the...
What a great concept
Joel
of a
Edgerton,
film.
right?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was the alien anyway.
A super great concept for a film.
Definitely.
Hey, we're going to invent... Fairies are real.
Yeah.
And you work for the police. Okay, sure. Let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
It was a fantastic film.
I thought it was a great action movie. And they're doing a sequel, too, for now.
I can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
I was a big fan. So
it's really good.
Some of his stuff's hit or miss, but I will, and I said this on Facebook the other day, I will watch anything The Rock makes, and I will watch anything Adam Sandler makes, and I will watch anything that Will Smith makes.
So how are you feeling about the end of Ballers, then?
I'm really upset about it.
Me too.
Yeah. Not only am I a fan of The Rock, I'm also a fan of the white guy.
Rob
Corddry.
Yeah,
Rob Corddry.
He's great.
Rob Corddry has always been like the salt, the seasoning of any show. He adds the quips, the punchlines, the funny moments. Yeah. And Rob Corddry's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I've tried to get him on.
Oh, dude.
I would love to sit down with him. Talking about spirited conversations with interesting people, I think a conversation with Rob Corddry would be phenomenal. Yeah. Patrick Warburton, too. I really want to. I would love to sit down with Patrick. Oh, my gosh.
It'd be amazing. So, all right. So here's the thing is, we put these personas out, and I probably with a lot of other folks, you get 5 points. I give you 5 bullet points you can know about me. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that, is there because I was doing a branding conversation just yesterday with Patrick.
A branding conversation?
Yeah, I was teaching for the USBG.
That's
Houston.
right. I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
So how'd that happen? By the way, are you copying in the emails? Did you see the blow up that happened?
Well, no, what happened? No, I wasn't what happened?
So you had told me you were coming down.
Yeah.
And I was previously a part of the USBG. I'm not anymore.
Okay.
But I still get their emails. Sorry. And a couple nights ago, I'm at Whiskeys of the World in Houston. And the event, by the way, has made a tremendous rebound. The last couple of years, they've struggled. This year was much better than the years past.
Great.
And I get an email Patrick Abelos, who's very well known here in Houston,
Yeah.
sends out an email of the list of classes that are happening this week, and you're
Right.
on the list.
Yeah.
Mike G.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, what is your last name?
Groner. Groener.
Groner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
I only knew you as Mike G, and then on Facebook it's Mike GR.
Yeah.
So
no
Groner.
one knows.
Okay, well, I just learned something new.
Yeah, you're the only one.
So he makes the announcement that there's all these classes happening, and someone, I won't say her name,
Sure.
responds with, are there any women doing classes? Because I only see...
It's a great point.
Sure.
I'm
Theoretically,
feminine, but I'm not a woman.
theoretically, it's a good point.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't say what I wanted to say, but I'll say this. I'll say now what I want to say. It's a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you have an organization, especially with, I would say arguably maybe even 1,000 people, vendors, brands, suppliers, distributors, local bartender, cocktail enthusiast, when you're part of that, it's perfectly normal, it's perfectly healthy to say, hey, I've noticed there's no women leading classes. Can we make this happen?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what happened, right? What happened was it was accusatory from the get-go, and it was a reply all.
Oh, jeez.
There are several people that run the Houston USPG, several men and women.
Right.
The healthy thing, the non-aggressive, assumptive thing, because assumptions are horrible, is to send them a message. Say, hey, have you guys reached out to any women to do these classes? But that's not what happened. She replied all. So God knows how many people got this response.
Yeah.
I replied with, first thing I noticed that I knew for sure was a female was Carrie Craft, Heaven Hill.
Uh-huh.
I said, yeah, there's a female in here. Someone else replied back and said, yeah, there's also this person who's female. So they give a couple names, right? That person replies back with essentially, and I'm paraphrasing here, okay, so 2 women out of 7.
Sure.
This reminds me of that time that we had a panel on...
Oh, I know where you're going. Yeah.
It was a panel of inclusiveness that incorporated mostly white people and 1 female or something.
Right.
So it was just a very confrontational exchange that kind of puts everyone in a bad spot, and it assumes malintent. Now, you, I think, still work for a supplying tier, or
Still work for what?
You're in the supplying tier?
Yeah, sure. Production tier.
Right, which would be the suppliers, right?
Sure.
So the people who would make whiskey or spirits and sell it, or gin, and sell it to distributors.
Sure.
The supplying tier. When you hire, now as a company, individually, you can hire diverse.
Sure.
Right? That's your goal. It should be a goal. You should hire diverse. But you don't know what other companies are hiring for a certain market. So you could theoretically have a market like Houston that's primarily female, primarily Hispanic, primarily male.
Yeah.
And that is that if there's, let's say, 50 brands in market or 50 brand reps in market, each working for different companies, they could have a diverse portfolio for Texas overall.
Right.
So, do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
But basically, it's USBG. When you reach out to people within market, you're reaching out to what's available. And if they sign up for, if you reach out to 50 suppliers and say, hey, we're going to do classes, like you're doing one.
Right.
You're a white male.
Sure.
You just said, okay, I want to be involved. I want to do a mezcal class, or I want to do this, I want to do that. It's not fair to essentially attack the board of USBG in Houston and give them a hard time when they reached out to everyone, and yet no one...
The right question is, did you reach out to a plethora of...
And they reached... The response from Nathan Raffel.
Nate, yeah. Nasty Nate.
Yeah, well, is that his nickname, Nasty Nate?
I've heard this.
Well, his response was pretty cold-blooded.
Nate's good, man.
He was like, we reached out to everybody.
Yeah.
And I totally understand your question, but did you recommend anybody? Did you make an effort? Did you reach out to anybody? We're in this together. We should be attacking this together.
Right.
And we know women came forward, or a few women came forward. We filled those slots based on who replied and who came forward.
Yeah.
And I forgot how this even came up, but I think we're going to have that problem a lot there in this conversation.
Well, see, you know what? Let's go deep for a second.
Sure. felt like we're hitting there already, but
No, we are, of course. But in a way where we have to understand how to navigate people and their personalities and what they talk about and still get to where we want to get to. And now, it's not a selfish thing, but it's a content thing, strategy thing, right? Directorial privilege, if you want, right?
Yeah.
So
Cinema reference.
Absolutely. I always wondered what brought you to the point where you were saying, no, I'll talk to people. I can conduct a conversation.
You mean like how I started my show?
That's right. But I want to point, and this is something I just learned about you, so I'm pivoting here as we kind of learn things about each other.
What'd you learn about?
So I've never met my father.
Okay.
Ever.
Sure.
Now, my last name, just to tell this all, Groner should not be my last name.
Okay.
Groner is the name of my mom's ex-husband, but in order to avoid my father, who didn't want me at all, from trying to lay claim to me, she kept a different name.
Okay.
So this is a very interesting thing. So G is kind of obfuscating this thing.
Sure.
But I realize that it's quite possible that my whole thing to try to fucking succeed and do well is this very deeply rooted thing to say, you know what? I don't care if you want to be in my life or not, but I'm going to be the best man I can be. Does this make sense?
All right. Okay. It makes sense, and we can go deep. And I did this previously on another guy's podcast. My good friend Randall Sullivan, who owns Bourbon Real Talk. He does his own podcast. We got deep, and he ended up cutting out a lot of it.
I see. I'm not cutting this. This is good stuff for me.
Okay. So this is my feelings, and I think this is my own personal assessment of me as a person. I didn't know my father growing up. And it didn't bother me growing up.
Right. You don't even think about it.
I didn't even think about it. I had my mom. My mom was fantastic.
Single mom, then, in other words.
Or
she got you mentioned a stepdad and stuff.
Around 7, I had a stepdad. Yeah. And then they divorced after I became an adult and a father myself. So, but it didn't bother me at all growing up not having a father.
Yeah.
But I think it has created an urge in me to not necessarily be liked by everyone, but it does eat away at me when I feel like someone doesn't like me for the wrong reasons. Like if someone doesn't understand me or assumes something worse in me, like something that's always kind of bothered me is I joined HBS as an enthusiast and I became an admin and asked to become an admin after I had promoted the group at all of my events and like trying to build the community. So the guy that started HBS, Matt Phillips, he said, you know, you've done a lot for the group. We'd like to make you an admin. I said, I'm glad to help. Anything I can do. And my event, the whole reason the Whiskey Social was created was to fix all the problems at all the other events. Basically, brands were pulling out left and right for Houston, and Houston wasn't, as Balcones has admitted, Houston wasn't a viable market compared to Dallas or Austin.
Yeah.
In fact, most Texas brands a lot of national brands do great in Houston. Texas brands do horrible. It's getting better.
Sure.
But essentially, my event, we started doing barrel selections. And I was basically giving up what would be profit or margin to prove an ROI for the brands, to buy product and give product away.
Yeah.
Well, when brands found out that we were doing barrel selections for the event, everyone wanted us to do them. I mean, everyone. Everyone was like, we do a barrel. Well, we spent a lot of money on product, but we can't afford to do 15, 20 barrels for the event. So I said, hey, the group started asking for barrels. I've got an excess of barrels. So how about I give the group what we can connect the dots here.
Sure.
And there's been some people, not a lot of people, but some people who assume that I make money off the group or that I use the group. And it kind of, it eats at me. And I think that has to do with not being wanted from my father. Now, I know a lot of people that are like, dude, just don't worry about it. You know, people, I don't need everyone to like me. But not having a father growing up, and actually when I was 19, a little side note, I thought I found him. The guy I thought was my dad, my mom had given me a picture as a kid. the guy I thought was my dad at 19, I tracked him down. He was living in Hawaii. I gave him a call, and a woman answered.
Oh, wow.
Shit, I didn't think that far ahead.
Right.
So, woman answers. I say, hey, is Travis there? She goes, can I ask what you're calling about? And I thought, oh, crap. If he's got a new wife, I don't want to tell him he's got a kid that he's never met. And I end up just kind of being honest. And I say, I think he's my dad. Yeah. I'll wait till you get back. But, well, I guess I don't have to wait till you get back. So a few minutes later, she goes, hold on, please. She puts me on hold. And a few minutes later, a man comes to the phone and he goes, hello. And it sounds like an older man.
Yeah.
It was my grandfather. They have the same name. It's the Travis Sr., Travis Jr.
You
thing.
kidding me?
Yeah. So I didn't know. So I was like, hey, I think you're my dad. And he's like, I think you might be talking about my son, Travis, who I guess had knew about me years ago and had mentioned in passing to his own father. So,
wow.
Long story short, I thought this guy was, so my grandfather connected me with my biological dad who was living in Hawaii at the time. And so much has happened. He was at the birth of our last two kids.
Wow.
He was at my wedding. And we found out last Thanksgiving he's not my father. So for the past decade, I've had this guy in my life.
Guy? Just like a cool uncle or
Dude,
what?
he sold his house in Hawaii, left his girlfriend to come be here with his son.
For a call you made.
For a call that I made. And I know people were like, well, why didn't you get a DNA test? Well, my mom had said it since I was a kid. She's like, hey, this guy, this is it's not being filmed. You can come by. This guy, he basically worked on radio towers before OSHA was a thing, and he fell off a radio tower while they were building one in Hawaii, and he broke his legs and arms, so he was been paralyzed in Hawaii for the past 20, 30 years. Mm-hmm. And long story short, he wanted to be a part of my life,
man,
and so he came. I mean, the story's crazy, right?
He really stepped up for the wrong line.
Well, here's the thing. He stepped up, and at Thanksgiving, a few days before my son's birthday, my son turning 2, at Thanksgiving last year, he mentions he got Ancestry.com done.
Yeah.
I said, oh, I got that done like in 2011. And when I got it done, I found out that there was no Asian, there's no African. I mean, I am as white gets.
Sure.
Northern Ireland, the Netherlands, Norway, Europe, basically, right?
Yeah.
And I remember that. Oh, and less than 1% Jew. I don't know how that got in there, but
well, it's always good for a little bit.
Yeah. And so at Thanksgiving, he mentions, "Oh, I got it done," and that he's 5% African. And I was like, whoop, like immediately. I was like, "Well, hold on." So there's like some disclaimer on the Ancestry.com website that says that if you are, is this too much? It feels like a lot of info.
I like it.
Okay, so he found out that on Ancestry.com it says it's not a paternity test. Don't use it as one.
Yeah.
And the information changes over time as they collect data, right? So it kind of augments and shifts a little bit.
Of course.
And so we searched for each other, and it says we're not a match. And I said, okay, well, we should get a DNA test to be sure. And he just stopped responding.
Oh, fuck.
He didn't come to my son's birthday 2 days later. Keep in mind, he was at my son's birth.
Right.
But he just kind of ghosted me. Like, he's like, all right, I'm out, right?
Man.
Which is so weird because he left everything he had in Hawaii to come here. Didn't come to my daughter's birthday in January. So over the period of a couple months, he just stopped.
Do people know this about you?
No, I don't tell anybody. It's the first time I've really fully talked about it.
This is I mean, because it's such a brilliant fodder for a script.
Oh, I think it's a really fascinating story, but you can't. I'm in a weird position where I can't. Of course, I vent to my wife about it.
Yeah.
But I can't put it on Facebook because even when something bad happens to you, you'll look bad when you put any kind of drama on Facebook.
Yeah.
If your wife cheats on you, leaves you, some crazy fantastical story, if you put that on Facebook, you just look like a piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's this thing that happened that was really kind of hurtful. And here's the thing. I get it. We're both kind of reeling from this thing we thought was really that we thought we were father and son. But it gets worse, right? So my mom tells me, all right, there's one other possibility that could be your father. And this is a
Al
lot
Pacino.
of information. I don't know if your audience now.
This is the thing. I don't know who my audience. I just know they're there.
Sure.
And then people tell me, people told me they listened to my interview with you. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I love that part of it.
I don't, like I said, I don't really have anyone outside my wife I can talk to about it. And we're
that's
drinking,
tough.
so it's coming out right now.
Well, it's some beautiful 15-year-old bourbon.
Yeah, it's the Old Virgin Bourbon 15-year-old. Fantastic bottle. I opened that with
it's
Brendan
kind
Schaub.
of you know what? Let's do whatever we have to do.
Okay.
Two hosts commiserating about.
Okay, sure. So my mom tells me this guy's name. She was dating him at the time. They broke up briefly. His name's Scott.
Scott doesn't. That's not a great name.
Well, here's the thing. The guy we thought was my dad didn't have any facial hair and had a full head of hair. That right there should have been a red flag.
Yeah.
Because I'm the opposite. I've got a great beard and no hair.
I mean, I'm not going to mention it, but you're. I'll tell you this: you are white.
I'm definitely white, and So I tracked him down. Like within 24 hours, I found this other guy, who, when I looked him up on Facebook, definitely looks more like me.
Oh fuck!
And he has his own business, and so his number was pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
Called him, said, "Hey man, I'm 32. I've got my own kids, my own family. I just want to know my other side of this family, right?"
Yeah.
And I tracked him down on Facebook. I called him. He got on the phone. We had the quick conversation. I said, "Hey, take a few days, soak it up. There's a lot of information, even as listeners outside the situation. This is a lot of information." And a few days later, he called me. Missed the calls at work. And I went to go message him on Facebook to tell him that I'm sorry I missed your call. I'm at work.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find his profile.
He deleted it?
He blocked it.
Oh.
He blocked me. Yeah. So he blocked me. He blocked my wife. He blocked my mom. And when I finally got him on the phone, I just called him back. I didn't have to call him a bunch of times or anything.
Right.
He just said, he goes, the genetically, he's not. Even if he is my father, he's not my father. There's a difference between a father and a dad.
There's functional and then
sure. And he said there's too much. He has a wife and 2 daughters, which I guess would be my sisters out there. That he just doesn't want to risk it.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't want to get to know me.
Dude, so
sure.
So I'm sure.
Listen, I would love for you to overshare because I've been sharing on my ass.
No, for sure. No, and I got no problem with it. So my mom, I'm born in 1980. I'm going to be turning 40 next year. And this is a very, very interesting time of life. 2 marriages in, blah, 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 blah. I'm not an insufferable bastard, I promise you. I'm quite a nice guy. But so sometime about a year, this is probably about 10 years ago now, something like that. My mom confronted, I don't know how she got back in touch with my biological father, who I have not met. I've never even talked to him.
Never talked to him?
Never.
No?
Not once. Not
how would you feel if you'd want to talk to him?
If I wanted to talk to him?
If he said, "Hey Mike, it's Papa Bear.
Yeah.
You want to get to know me?"
Nah.
Really?
Nah.
So if he wanted to get to know you.
Nah, I'm
No?
I'm almost 40 years old.
See, I'm the opposite. I think that's what it is there's something in me that because of the I think it makes me a better father with my kids. I try so hard with them. And I think that comes from a place of not having one.
Sure.
And now as an adult, them not wanting me. Which is a whole different story of I never met him.
Yeah.
To well, is it because you never met him because she didn't want him in your life, or you met him because he doesn't know? So
I
go
know.
ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. And ultimately, what happened is, so within my mom told me after, she said, "I told your father, biological father, he has to tell his kids about you." And so within about...
I'm sorry, say that again? He what?
So she basically gave him an ultimatum and said, you have to tell your kids they have a brother. Me. Right?
Sure.
And so she did. And within about 15 minutes, I got 2 random Facebook messages from people I never met.
That were your brothers?
It was my sister.
Oh, yeah?
And my brother.
And what'd they say?
Hey, we just heard this thing.
Yeah?
And they were just so open to meeting me and talking to me.
Did you talk to them?
I did, yeah. And
we're
good.
You're happy?
Yeah. But here's the strangest part.
See, the part of me that knows that I can't have that is what eats me.
Yeah.
There's no closure. I think that's what it is. It's a lack of closure. I still don't
have... I was living my life, and I can't build 2 decades worth of rapport, even though we look alike. You know what I mean? So that was the hardest part, really. But the strangest thing is I had a younger brother.
Yeah.
He was 13, I think. And he killed himself shortly after finding out. Now, I'm not saying there's any causation.
Okay.
But
no correlation?
Yeah. I don't think there is, and I would suspect not. But so I had 3 siblings, and then shortly thereafter 2, because this young guy was having some mental illness and killed himself. And I'm like, well, fuck. I don't even have a clear shot at this thing. Yeah. Now, So, but it's just strange.
Sure.
And then I'm fine, and I'm, calm or whatnot. But coming from that place.
Well, you're very well rounded.
I suppose.
You're established. You're very intelligent.
Thanks.
Right? So, I mean, it's not... You can still have a fully functioning... you're very well respected as well. I mean, I don't know of many people who don't have nice things to say about you.
That's probably good.
Yeah. You don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it didn't bother me at all as a child, and as an adult, to know that I kind of want to know, but I can't.
Yeah.
And I have these 2 sisters
mm-hmm.
that, and I don't know how to say this, but the women in my family, tend to be on the bigger side.
You mean like
Rubenesque? A little Rubenesque. Yeah, a little curvaceous.
That's a very precious word to use.
Yeah, Rubenesque.
Or spelt.
And I hate to sound stupid, but his beard looks like my beard. Like, I'm pretty sure. And then also, what's crazy, he lives in California, right?
Yeah. Where about?
Big Bear, Big Ben, some big something.
Big beard.
Big beard. And his daughters, you can see a resemblance.
Yeah.
And they're definitely a little Rubenesque.
Dude.
And I found out, so I live in LaPorte.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of grew up there, Pasadena, LaPorte,
Yeah, that's where we went to college, right?
It's where I went to college.
Yeah, get a business administration degree over there at San Jacinto.
How have you been?
LinkedIn is a beautiful tool, Chris.
Interesting. It's funny. I just signed up for that. Yeah. I mean, I signed up years ago, and I've always hated it.
Yeah.
I hate LinkedIn. And I signed up recently when I heard my aviation company was starting to sell off pieces of itself. I thought, that's maybe I should sign up. And so his brother, well, I guess would be my uncle, lives within a mile of where I live.
I'm about to throw this microphone down and say, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Really?
He's been there within a mile of me.
Oh my gosh.
My entire life.
That's crazy.
And I've never met him. And so I tracked him down.
Let me grab this whiskey.
Yeah, I want to drink some.
Yeah, we're gonna go through some agave.
Yeah, we can wrap this bourbon up here.
Well, let's wrap this chapter of you and your past coming up to present with this whiskey.
Well, I'll say that I tracked him down. We had coffee at his house one morning. I told him the whole story. Mm-hmm. He said he wasn't close to what would be my biological father, Scott. And this guy's name is Chris too. My uncle's name's Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And he works at the golf course in LaPorte, lives in Deer Park, and he, same thing. We had a great conversation, we had some coffee, and just said, no, I'm good. And I thought, I think it's this innate need to, I don't want to say feel accepted, but just, if you don't accept, if it's a rejection, why?
Yeah,
right?
Right.
It's like when you don't get a job that you know you're perfect for.
Right.
you've got the resume, you've got the education, you've got the background, and you don't get the job, and you're like, what was it? Was it the shirt I wore? Was it my face?
What about me isn't good enough, right?
So it's not, I don't need people to like me, but if they don't, I want to know why.
Sure.
And if you say, hey, man, you shared too much information, like, that's a fair point. All right,
Sure.
we're good.
Yeah, but I mean, I would never fault you for that. All right, so
Sure. By the way, this is the first time I've ever had this, and I don't know. I think part of it has to do with the fact that I've been wanting to sit down with you for so long that it's all coming out of me at once.
I mean,
Yeah, I have
I feel so
I'm
lucky,
such a
dude.
fan of you, Mike.
No, well, likewise, dude. I mean,
I didn't stalk your LinkedIn account, but I find such almost 300 episodes. That's well over 300 hours. Not to mention your new thing that you're doing on YouTube, the 3-minute reviews.
Yeah.
You're such a talent.
Thanks.
You're
dude.
so. I just have a lot of respect for you, man.
I appreciate it. And you know what? So let me go a little bit closer to the chest here as we transition to agave.
How
spirits.
closer could you get?
Yeah, that's a good point. But no, there's some things about it. We're gonna settle these up and pour these, and I really want you to try the Sierra Negra.
Sierra Negra first?
Yes, of course.
No.
Beautiful notes of strawberry and such, but you
Really?
get it how you get. Thank you, sir. So here's the thing, and I appreciate the accolade, the call outs and the support and all of that. Do you ever feel misunderstood? Because there is, right? I know it's almost like an
Okay.
yeah. So you are who you are online.
Yeah.
People get their impression of you. They see you on the show and stuff. If you could articulate a single thing that you would say, dudes and dudettes, you really don't understand this about me. Either because you haven't put it out there, or simply because they don't want to.
I think people who listen to my show, we have a pretty decent sized audience, and we're, it's always crazy to me that if we trend in Poland, or if we trend in, recently we've been trending in Barbados because of what I think the episode we did on rum with Richard Seal, and of course the follow-up episode with
Alexander.
We've been trending in Barbados quite a bit. I think I think I do a pretty good job of letting out an honest persona, a personable persona.
Yeah. Why? Just in these past 49 minutes.
It's already been 49
I know,
minutes.
dude. So we'll have to edit each other in some sense. But
Trim some
you've
out,
become intensely personable, and I wouldn't have necessarily known that.
Sure. Well, it wasn't. I don't even know what triggered it, but I don't think there's anything. The people who would listen to this, and the people that would listen to my show on ESPN 97.5, Whiskey Neat, I think they have a pretty good grasp of my personality, my humanness, and those who don't wouldn't listen to me explain it anyways.
Yeah.
So, and it's not that I'm this crazy misunderstood person. I think people just make reasonable assumptions that aren't a stretch of the imagination about my business with the Whiskey Social and then HBS. But I don't.
Do you feel misunderstood by the community?
No, not the community, by some suppliers.
I see.
We've never lost a brand for the Whiskey Social because of the event.
Yeah.
Right. We have lost quite a few brands because of HBS.
Yeah.
And at times I wish HBS understood that they see that I'm in this weird position, but I'd still rather not censor their honest feedback of brands. And you would think that would give me more credibility.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Kris is risking a lot by being involved with HBS.
Having some standards.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that no one knows. Like, they don't get to find out that we've lost, a couple years ago, a local guy who's very well respected overall.
Yeah.
Basically told some members openly, like, hey, you guys should go confront this brand at my event this weekend. And we had like 6 brands pulled out. And they pay to be there. So brands pay to be there.
Right.
So I guess if there was something, I guess that kind of sounds self-centered. Hey
No,
guys,
no.
if there's one thing you don't understand, it's how much I give to you. Like that sounds
Well, no,
a bit
I mean, but
narcissistic.
the problem is you have a responsibility now given the momentum of these things, and you can't stop, right? You can't just stop because it gets bigger.
Well, I mean, if I pulled out of HBS as an admin and didn't do our projects that we work on and bring those things to the group.
Exactly.
I think any group could survive. There's lots of groups out there that survive.
Yeah.
I don't think it would quite be the same.
It would not be the same, and it would exist, sure.
But
it's like...
It smells.
Dude, isn't this crazy?
Fantastic.
So this is a Cinco Sentidos Sierra Negra in
Never
clay,
heard of
dude.
I don't know what any of those words are, but this
Five
is
senses.
amazing.
So think about it like this. You know how...
That is unbelievable.
Yeah. It's crazy, dude. And
It smells like strawberries. It tastes like dirt. In the best possible way.
I will go lay down in that dirt right
This
now.
is fantastic.
It's
And you
crazy.
can't get that here?
You can. This is one of the few that you can get.
Here in Houston. Have you been to NASA yet?
Yep, just went.
Okay.
So they have.
Because I know you went to Rosewater. My boy Pasha, and you Pasha has a cubby in the back. If you walk into Rosewater, it's a long bar. The very end of the bar, on the back bar, there's a cubby hole of all of his really allocated stuff that he sells at cost.
Yeah.
That guy is doing more to change spirits in this area than anyone ever.
Dude, and that's one of the things. But the reason this because you would have pick of so many of the litter, right? And this was the one. I was like, dude, you gotta try this.
Does NASA have this?
They have another mark, and they can get it, and it's something
Which is fantastic.
we'll talk about. It's great, right?
What do you say? 5
Cinco sentidos.
sentidos.
The senses.
Cinco sentidos.
Yeah.
Well, this is fantastic.
I'm glad to share with you. Get you out of the because you're known as a bourbon guy, but I do know you're known as a rum guy now too. I know we had
rum,
this chat with
scotch,
them.
beer.
Armagnac.
I like anything that's
Tastes fucking good.
anything that's. I always say anything that spends time in a barrel, but in this case,
Good. It didn't even
fantastic,
matter.
yeah.
It's great. Well, so here's the thing.
okay.
So one, we'll have to course our conversations, I think, because
What do you mean?
that we have to meet again.
Oh,
we got to
sure.
talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this meeting has been years.
Oh,
in the making.
long overdue.
Yeah, so we've been wanting to get together, and I've been trying to get. We've been trying to reach out to a few people in the Austin area for interviews,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always known that if I can lock in some, like Matthew McConaughey, I've been talking back and forth with his PR person. They said, well, he can only talk about Long Branch. Okay, we can talk about Long Branch. We're talking about Wild Turkey. Does that sound douchey, kind of name droppy? The interview's probably not going to happen, but I've been trying to make that happen. Another one I would love to sit down with is I don't know if you saw. What did you think of? Do you watch superhero movies?
Which movies?
Superhero movies.
Sometimes, yeah.
Shazam.
I don't watch it yet. I want to.
Okay.
I want to watch it.
It's fun, but
Yeah.
it's not. I wouldn't say
Well,
it's
anybody
objectively
that's
good.
related to Eugene Levy, I'll watch.
Is Levi?
It's Adam Levy, right?
No. Levi. His name's Levi. First name's Levi.
Oh, okay.
It's not related to.
But he's on Schitt's Creek. Is that right?
No,
He's not
different
the same
guy.
dude? Okay.
It's two different Jews.
So I'm mixing up the Jews.
Yeah.
As a guy that looks like a Jew.
Levi. Now his name's slipping my mind. If he's related to Eugene,
I thought his last name was Levy.
No,
man.
it's like it's now. I got to find out.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay. While I'm talking, so
Yeah.
we've been reaching out to a few people in the Austin area, and I've known that if we can make those interviews happen, that you and I would be sitting down very soon.
Yeah, we have to.
Is it Levi Walker?
Is that right?
That's not right.
That sounds like a pretty Norwegian name. Chris.
Yeah, I'll just look up Shazam. Shazam film, and the guy's name is Zachary Levi. He might be related
It
to
is Eugene Levy's kid. I'm almost certain,
Zachary
dude.
Levi Pugh.
Oh, is it Pew? Okay,
Yeah,
so he's got another.
that's
little
not
name.
him.
Okay,
Yeah, and Eugene Levy is Levy, right?
Levy. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. No. If he's related to
Well, at least we worked this out on the mic.
on mic, and you don't really edit any of this.
No, I don't want to edit it.
Oh,
So
man.
I'm like, we're gonna go for another 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then leave everybody wanting more.
Well, why don't we keep going? You have 2 episodes.
Well, there's that too, right? Well, so here's the thing, though. I thought about, well, what should Kris and I talk about? Bourbon culture? Fine, we could. But
Well, you run a Facebook group.
I do for agave.
How does that does that not drive you mad and crazy?
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I like some of the conflict. We had a conflict just this week.
About what?
I was like, hey, because we're drinking Cinco Sentidos is uncertified mezcal.
Okay.
It is still tested, lab tested, but it does not have the hologram of other mezcales.
Sure.
It's a Destilado de agave. That's what
Okay.
they call it, right? So for everybody that's like, no, get certified. I was like, well, why?
Yeah.
Because this tastes incredible, and I've tasted mezcal, of course, and then Destilado de agave.
What's the process?
Well, so I said, hey, since it's so important that everybody gets certified, according to this one brand owner, which is fine, I said, can you send me your chemical chromatography analysis? Because that's done for they have to sample every batch of mezcal. That's how it goes. And he wouldn't send it.
Why?
Because he said it was a trade secret. And I said, well, if you're selling it to people, they sure as shit want to know what's in it.
Sure.
And then my other mate who owns a mezcal brand just gladly offered it up. So all that really means is that it's a good conversation and we ask the right questions. We're not just sitting there. And I don't feel any responsibility to do anything except ask questions and make sure that people collaborate. What's your approach for HBS?
Well, it's the same. It's the same thing. Like but my initial approach was this, and it's actually I've never bought into the beef between the cities of Dallas and the beef between Dallas, Austin, and Houston, or I think it's funny. The jokes between the football teams is always funny, right? Yeah. But for a long time, when you thought of culture in Texas, it was pretty much limited to Dallas, DFW, and more importantly, Austin. Yeah. Austin's known for culture,
right?
Known for its political leanings and its music scene, right? Well, Houston, I've grown up here my whole life. Houston has a fantastic scene, and it kind of went unnoticed for a long time, specifically in the spirits world.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? We are going to create, because there were many groups before HBS, and none of them have had and it's not to, let me clarify something. I'm about to say something really nice about HBS.
Followed with something bad?
But it doesn't. Oh. It doesn't mean that I'm shitting on other groups.
Right.
What I'm saying is what is it about HBS that has been so impactful, so special, or the first of its kind in terms of impact in the zeitgeist and that sort of thing? And I think it has to do with everything that we've done, the scale of what we've done, where we've, every time I do a radio show appearance, we talk about it. We don't just do barrel picks here and there. There were groups doing barrel picks here and there before that.
Yeah.
We're basically the Houston Alcoholic Society, right? It's not just bourbon. We do rums. We've done rum picks. We've done Armagnac picks. We're in the midst of importing an 18-year-old cognac, first of its kind in Texas. No one else is doing it, and the brand didn't get picked up for distribution. We're just importing this one cask of 18-year-old cognac. This group has a fever for really vices, right? My approach has always been very kind of loose-handed and just kind of rein in and mitigate the asshole-ish behavior when it pops up. But it's hard with a group this size. I caught something earlier today, like literally right before we got here, in which I know you saw the post.
Yeah.
But I caught something earlier today that had been up for 40 minutes before I saw it.
Fuck.
So I had to jump in, turn off comments, make my own comments, make a separate post telling people to be nice. Like it's this mitigation of personalities. But when you're a group of 6,600 people,
goddamn,
it's hard to mitigate those things. And by the way, do it for free.
Right.
Like it takes up so much of my time.
Having a day job.
Shout out to my wife for putting up. Dude, one of our favorite. I don't know what Leslie's her name.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys love to do, But me and my wife love to do hobbies together,
Mhm.
right? So we go to Scotland together, visit distilleries. We're going to France to go visit Cognac next year.
Amazing, yeah.
We're going to be doing some upcoming projects as well in that realm. We drink spirits together. We like
Mhm.
the same stuff.
Yeah, dude.
And we love television.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she's not a big fan of stuff that's really bizarre, like Old Boy. I
Yeah.
love the Old
Great
Boy,
movie,
right? Did you ever see what was that movie? The Raid?
I haven't watched. I know about it.
It is
I heard it's impeccable.
bloody brilliant.
Yeah, yeah,
She's not big into the kung fu, intense, violent stuff,
yeah.
but we love watching movies together. And we plan. We're working through Mad Men right now.
Yeah.
A little late, by the way.
No, but it's no better time than.
But we get in bed, and all of a sudden something happens in the group, and I'm dealing with it, and I'm like, we're watching TV together, but really I'm in my phone.
Taking you out of the moment.
Shout out to my wife for being an incredibly patient, lovingly patient wife.
Yeah.
But it's it's a lot, but I love the group, and like I said, we've done things that have never been done before. They're not happening to this scale, and the group's not perfect by any means, and I'm not perfect by any means, but I feel the good far outweighs the bad.
Yeah.
And I think if I can rein in my honest opinions about some things and not be so cynical, and because I see sometimes with you'll get a little opinionated, a little cynical at times, and I envy you because I feel like you can do that and get away with it.
Wait, how can I get away with it?
Dude, some of your opinions are I scream on the inside as like, this guy's onto something. And it's a little bit of a shitty of opinion, like you're being very judgmental.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that in you.
But I love people, just for the record,
I made a post the other day about something completely benign, something to do with, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was something to do with food. It may have been something as simple as, a while back, I made a post about flour-based enchiladas.
Okay. Yeah.
And like if you go to if you order tacos in Texas and they're not corn tortilla tacos, it's a crime.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah,
You're robbing yourself of an incredible experience.
Absolutely.
I made that post to which someone jumped in and was like, "Hey man, I think it's pretty crappy of you to like dude, relax.
Really?
Like, can I make a lighthearted remark about
Right.
these things without it being a thing?"
Yeah, yeah.
And it was something. Basically, I think I called So I went. There's a great taqueria near here.
Oh, is there?
How long are you in town? Where are you staying?
We're staying around Montrose.
Okay, well,
So,
it's far away,
I know.
but there's a great taqueria around the corner. Oh my God!
They're open?
There's two places. There's three places you should come down here to eat.
Okay.
How long are you here for?
We're leaving in the morning, in fact.
It's garbage.
No, I know. But
So
if there's spots tonight,
There's a great taqueria near here called Taqueria's Chalupas, and I rave about their tacos al pastor. One day I was just craving enchiladas, and they made them with flour tortillas, which is basically a soggy burrito. An enchilada with a flour tortilla covered in cheese. That's a burrito. That's a soggy burrito. I was very upset. It was the gummiest, chewiest thing, and it was disgusting. But I made that post. It's that thing, right? I feel like you operate on this level where it's not about the more the merrier, but more like a steady flow of respectable people who respect you. Like your friends list, I don't know what your number is.
Sure, I don't know.
But let's just say it's 400 people.
Sure.
400 industry people who respect your opinion. Boom. I'm the opposite.
6,600 people?
No, it's like 2,600 people, and the spectrum of political leanings and political opinions is so wide that I can't offer up any opinions. I made a post a while back about Stacey Dash a couple years ago. It's the last political post I've posted on Facebook in 3 years.
Yeah.
Because it was a madhouse of opinions and murder, and they start attacking each other in the comments. And then I get accused of flipping a match. I'm like, listen, I'm not an overly opinionated guy. But if I make the funniest post is the exaggerated post.
Yeah.
Calling flour tortillas soggy burrito.
Yeah.
Or if I say, you're a garbage person if you like this. Like that's an exaggerated comment, but it's the funny thing to read.
I think so too. And I'm really about, I love making those comments that aren't about politics, but they're about reason.
Sure.
It's about reason. Either
Yeah.
you're a dick or you're not.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's kind of it for me.
I don't think people mistake me for a dick. I don't think that's definitely not something I think I'm generally associated with.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, they're probably closed by now. What time is it?
It's 7:17.
Do you want to eat after this?
I think we should. Yeah, we'll get some.
So there's a
food
place
delivered.
around the corner. You like Mexican food?
Of course, yeah.
There's a place called Rivera's. It's Salvadorian Mexican food. They
Right.
used to work for Papa's. They started their own restaurant.
Yeah. Olives in the rice.
No.
Ah, that's one of the things I love that. But
And Pasha from Rosewater.
Yeah.
We had lunch there one day because we're trying to do this. We're working on a project to bring vintage spirits to Texas.
mm-hmm.
It's not allowed here, but I have a workaround.
Nice.
And I think I can levy those relationships to bring in some cool stuff that you can't get here, including overseas blends.
Perfect.
So if you can walk into Rosewater and you get straight from the barrel blends, you can't get anywhere else in the U.S. unless you're in out of state. And
Yeah.
Seattle's pretty good about it.
Sure.
That'd be pretty legendary, right? It would change the game here
It
in the
would,
state.
dude.
So
I'm into it.
We have a legal workaround. We can make it happen. It can be done. We're just working through making it happen.
Yeah.
But we had this meeting at this restaurant, and the mariscada. Do you know what mariscada is?
Marisco, I imagine.
It's a seafood soup
Mhm.
that has pretty much everything in it. It's got some clams in there, some shrimp in there, some crab.
Mhm.
There's some like half a white fish. It is one of the most incredible dishes in this area in a hole-in-the-wall restaurant that is just out of this world.
Dude. Is it BYOB by chance?
No, I think I had a beer there,
Oh, okay.
so you
Okay.
can't. But there's, I mean,
Well, we get some.
we got lots to talk about after this. So.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. So this is what I'm going to say this, and I haven't said this definitively in any of the other chats I've had. This is merely chapter 1 of our collaboration, of our conversation.
Sure.
And we will do 2, we will do 3, so forth and so on.
Yeah, I'm happy
So
to
I've
sit
got
down with you anytime.
2 questions left for you.
Okay.
And maybe someone's asked you this, maybe they haven't, I don't know. But let's talk about this Destilado de Agave, this Cinco Sentidos. I love it as well.
It's absolutely brilliant. It's fantastic.
Incredible, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you're sitting anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter where.
Okay.
It's a nice place, a place you enjoy. And you can sit down and sip and have a conversation with anybody, living or deceased. Who might you like to sit down next to? and have a
Yeah, it's
conversation?
an interesting conversation. So I haven't traveled that much, but I will tell you that my time in Ireland,
Mm,
in Scotland, and specifically Islay, was pretty life-changing.
yeah.
And if I could go back to Islay and stay in the cottage we stayed in, but sit outside in
Mhm.
that perfect year-round 50-degree kind of moist weather
Yeah.
with a bottle of whiskey,
Uh-huh.
Lefroy probably.
Uh-huh.
I'm a fan. And who would I sit down with? Are you a Doctor Who fan?
Uneducated, so can't hold me accountable. I don't not like it. I just don't know much.
Sure. I mean, there's a few. I can't think of any. I wish if I had known this question before, I would have come a little bit more prepared. But there's a few. I mean, I think about someone like Leonardo da Vinci,
Sure.
but that seems like a commercialized answer.
No
right?
one said
Who
that
would you sit
before.
down with? Gandhi, right? Living
Mm-hmm.
that I could actually have a dialogue with. I would love to sit down with Jim Carrey.
Oh man, that's great.
Jim Carrey is, I think he, I hate to say this, I hate to put this on him,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he's the next Robin Williams.
That's a good point.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
the
I know
way
what
he
you mean.
ends, right?
Maybe.
Robin Williams was the first, Michael Clark Duncan was I think he died before Robin.
Yep.
Michael Clark Duncan was the first time that a celebrity kind of affected me, right, when
Mhm.
they passed. Robin Williams was really heavily weighed on me.
Dude.
Jim Carrey, he has reached a level of celebrity, and of course all the controversy around vaccines and stuff. That I don't think you can exist as a normal person,
Mm-hmm.
have normal interactions without it being can I get a picture? Can I do this? Can I do that? He's a brilliant artist, and I think that I think his mind is a bit of an enigma.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
No,
for
right.
The Riddler reference.
Right.
He would be so fascinating to have coffee with. I would sit down with Jim Carrey for hours.
Yeah.
And drink with him and talk with him.
Amazing.
Jim Carrey. I'm going to say Jim Carrey. Because also his sense of humor.
Yeah.
Huge fan.
For sure. Yeah. So there we go. This is chapter 1 of Life Lessons.
We could do I could sit here for the next 3 hours. When we only tried 2 bottles.
I know, man.
There's 6 bottles on the table.
There's clandestine.
And I feel like there's so much more we could touch on.
Yeah, dude. There is. And this is merely the beginning.
So do me a favor.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever listen to these in full before you release them?
No, I remember kind of what we talk about.
Okay. Well, never mind then.
What were you going to say?
Well, I just feel like this is the deepest I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
On anything.
That's good. Me too.
Ever.
Me too. Yeah.
You hungry? You want to get some food?
Yeah. I think
All
we
right.
should get some food. So that's how we do this.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue another chat with Kris at some point when you're in Austin or I'm back.
I'm going to be coming up there soon.
Sure.
We've got some things on the horizon that will take us up there.
I'm excited about it. But food for now. Salud. Thanks so much for sipping along with me, man.
Cheers, man.
I don't think I'm going to.
Cling.
Cling. Enjoy it.
There we go.
Chat soon, yeah?
Cheers. Absolutely.
So there we have it, Mr. Kristopher Hart of the Houston Whiskey Social Whiskey Neat. You know him as an interviewer, but do you know him as an interviewee? You know, there's a lot about his life, and we put ourselves out there. You know, being an interviewer, podcaster, host, whatever you want to call it, it's not as easy as it might seem. And pulling things together, pulling the questions together, developing a narrative, choosing how much to inject of yourself, your own personal life is really an interesting balance. So Kris, you know, I appreciate you sharing so much. I think it makes you such a really an interesting and deep and textured person. Potentially folks don't understand that about you. So I feel very, very privileged to have had the chance to sit down and sit with you and talk about your life. So those of you in Houston, if you haven't gotten your tickets for the 5th annual Houston Whiskey Social this Saturday, February 8th, do that thing. I've seen a list of the vendors. It blows my mind. I'm really regretful that I won't be able to attend. But bourbon culture will go on, and we will keep doing these interviews. And Kris, I hope to see you soon on your show. So thanks, everybody, for listening to Show to V with Mike G. No matter how many people you're trying to figure out is going to attend a happy hour at a place that doesn't have a lot of room for a lot of people, or if you're thinking, I don't want to press the Facebook rules because they can do whatever they want and shut me down flat, please keep dancing.